Hello everyone, welcome back. So we have ourselves another Coleman lantern. Look at this little beauty. This one has the case, and the case is dated to the lantern, which is always a good thing. This is a 288A 700. Now, I like to show you how they look as I got them, and externally this is exactly how I got it. I did do one thing, which was replace the pump cap. The one that came in it, it had absolutely no pressure. It's one of these little plastic ones, and it's all corroded up, split. And I put one of my leather pump caps on. I'll show you that in a little bit. So this one, for some reason, is full of oil. There's oil all over it. I'd rather see oil all over something than rust all over something. So what I want to do with this one is, it obviously doesn't need a restore, but it needs a good cleaning. So let me show you. We got a date of 8/89. And then on the bottom of the case, right, where are we? I got it upside down. Oh, actually that says 98 on it. And what did I say this was? 89? Or did I read it backwards? I got a hair on it. Yeah, this says 89. And this case says 98. So the case is not dated to the lantern. So this was, after fact. But it's the right case. So as you can see here, there's oil all over it. So what I'm going to want to do is take it apart, clean it up, ventilator looks good, just dirty, little tiny couple little rust spots, nothing to worry about. Take off the globe. And it's got little tiny baby mantles. This the 288 calls for a 21. I think those are 20s. I was watching a video from Daniel, and Dan had what was it, a 222A or just a 222? But a little tiny mini lantern. It was just so cool. And he said he needed number 20 socks. I'm going to guess those are 20 socks. I keep calling them socks. Mantles. So I'll be taking those off because when I start to clean it up, I'm going to mess them up anyway. And, we'll put some 21As on. Now, I did light this, and it lights fine after I changed the pump cap because I was getting no pressure in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty the fuel out. There's a little bit of fuel in it. And then I'll show you the disassembly of this. All right, so I got the fuel out. It was nasty. It was like yellow. I don't even know what it was. But we're going to clean out the fount. So first thing we're going to do is there's a little clip right here. I'm going to pop that off. Not lose it. Hopefully you can see that. So we'll set that aside. Actually, let me get a little box here. Put all the parts in. And then you have this little heat shield here. From what I learned, I never took one of these apart, is that the eccentric block that they made in these originally were made out of like a plastic. And they were melting. So that could be why they put a shorter sock on, or they just didn't have the right mantle. But that's why they added this heat shield. So now we're going to take the generator out, which is a half inch. Where's my half inch? All right. It's tight. Man, that's tight. Okay, we're going to put a little WD-40 on that, and we'll let it soak for a few minutes. All right, we got our WD-40 on there. I didn't make an insert yet for my vise for this, which would have been a good idea, but, and plus I'm standing behind the camera. There you go. So loosen your generator nut. There's our generator. Now I can see right here, this eccentric block is a metal one. So that's a good thing. And there's not a separate valve for this. When you turn the handle, you see it going up and down. The fuel knob, I guess you want to call it. So it goes up and down. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, we're going to take off this retaining nut here. Then there's a little seat clip. Come on now. Take that off, and the whole top should lift right off. Beautiful. Then we're going to take a screwdriver, take this little screw out here. That's tight. We'll put a little bit of WD in there, and I'll be right back. So we had the WD in there for a little bit. And again, this is so oily. Everything I'm touching, just my hands are just getting saturated in oil. Man, that's tight. Wow. Okay, I never had one so tight, so I'm going to let that soak a little bit more, and I'll bring you back. I'm going to a stubbier screwdriver, get a little bit of grip on it. Okay, we got movement. Man, that thing is tight. And always use a screwdriver that fits the slot. Otherwise, you bugger it up. Man, that thing is tight. Okay. Whew. Got that out. Just got a little bit of... It's almost like there was some type of Loctite or something in there, but... Alright, we got it out. Now you just take your collar, take that out. That's in excellent condition, although full of oil. And as you can see here, some fuel came out the top, but there's just oil all over this thing. We got one little nick. Is that showing up? Right there. We'll take care of that. Let me show you the pump cap I put in there. I put the cap back on, this on backwards. Hey, that's giving me fits. Should have just popped right out. Dang. There you go. All right. That's one of those homemade leather caps. And yeah, there's a lot of oil in there. So that's as far as the disassembly is going to go on this. We have a little bit of rust down here at the bottom, which they seem to be notorious for, but not much else. So what I'm going to do is now just literally just take a paper towel. I'm going to wipe it all down. I got another little bubble there with paint. See that? I just nicked the paint off. There's rust under that. So any rust spots that you see, you're gonna want to take care of because they'll grow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some of this Evapor Rust, and I'm not soaking the whole tank. The inside of the tank looks good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get a small container. And I'm just going to set this down into it just about up to here so I can get the rust off the bottom. And then these little spots I showed you on the top, I'm just going to get a wet piece of like old t-shirt, and I'm just going to put that on there. Okay, and I'll leave it on there until the rust is removed. And I'll bring you back when I get to that point. All right, so it was in Evapor Rust for, I'm going to say about 45 minutes, and it did the trick. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. All the rust is gone off of those spots. All off the bottom. Little bit of paint came off over here. I don't know why. I didn't even Evapor Rust it, but I washed the whole thing with some simple green. And I don't know if you could see that, but it's got a lot of, I don't know if that's from the oil or something, but I'm going to try something after I touch these spots up, because I don't want them to rust again, and you kind of got to do it right away. So I'm just going to use my the paint I've been using on my restorations. It's pretty dark. Let me see. It's this color. Oh, nope. I may go with a Krylon. It's got a little bit more blue in it. So I'm just going to touch those up. And again, they're not going to be hidden, but I really don't care. I plan on using this lantern because I like the size of it. So let me touch those spots up, and then I will bring you back. I don't think you want to watch paint dry. So I'll bring you back when that's done, and we'll go to the next step. So I touched it up. None of the spray paints that I had were remotely close to that color. So what I did was I mixed some acrylic paints. I have here Hunter Green, Gloss Black, and some Real Navy. And I came up with that color. I have no idea if this is going to show right, but it was pretty dang close. So I did the bottom rim. Oh, look, I got paint all over myself. Let me wipe that off. I did the bottom rim, and I touched up those spots. And again, I'm not looking for this to be absolutely perfect. This is going to be my user lantern. You can see the spot in the light. What I'll do is, once this dries, yeah, you can see it right there. So that was the spot. But again, the bare metal is covered. I don't even know where I did it over here. Well, I think it was right there. Okay. So again, what I'll do is I'm gonna let this dry for probably about 2 hours or so, and then I'm gonna put a clear on it, like a lacquer or something, or a gloss varnish or polyurethane. I haven't decided yet. Just to give it a little added protection, and so that's gonna be drying for an hour. Now I have to try to clean this up. Now there's a bunch of ways to do it. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, So we have rust up here. We have a little bit of rust here. The rest of it looks pretty decent. As you can see, I destroyed the mantles. So I could soak it in vinegar. I could just do it manually with a wire brush. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Rust-Oleum Rust Dissolver Jelly, which is basically a naval jelly. This way I could do it in spots. I don't have to soak the whole thing. Again, I'm not doing a full restore. This is basically a maintenance type cleanup because I just need it to be clean, no more rust, and functional. So I'm basically just going to brush this on with a little acid brush, get that rust off, and I'll hit it with a little bit of steel wool, and I'll bring you back when that's done and the fount is cleared, whatever I decide to use on it, and dried, and then we'll take it to the next step. All right, so this is all cleaned up. It's just got a little light coat of oil on it. It came out nice. I didn't even end up using the navel jelly. I just used a very fine wire brush on my, man, I'm stumbling here, a wire wheel on my drill press. Just cleaned it up. Again, I'm not going crazy. I'm not trying to make it look brand new. Just getting rid of the little spots of surface rust. So we got that done. Now, let's take a look at the generator. All right, so that's a little dirty. Again, everything's got oil on it. Oh, not too bad. Let's see if the spring wants to come out. All right, let me get something to get that spring out. I'll be right back. All right, let me get a little closer here. So what I have here is just a little hook. I should be able to reach in there and just grab onto it. Hopefully it comes out. Well, it's stuck in there. You don't want to deform it. If it's not going to come out, we'll have to take some other measures. All right. So what we're going to do is squirt some WD-40 down there, and we're going to let that sit for a little while. I'll bring it back. So that's been soaking about 10 minutes, but before I attempt that again, I want to remind everyone, clean out the air intake tube, blow it out with a compressed air, because that's where the spiders like to go, and you do not want a spider nest in there. So put the air down here, put your finger over here where the generator goes and blow it out, and then you can blow it out this way, but just make sure it's clear. All right, now let's go back to this. Get our little hooky thing. Let's see if it comes out now. Nope. So obviously there's a lot of carbon in there. So I did see a video or two where they heat this up to get it out, basically reburn the carbon. But I have to soak this anyway. I want to get off this tarnish. So I think I'm going to put it in a vinegar bath with salt and see if that loosens everything up. Well, maybe throw it in Evapor-Rust. There's not, yeah. You know what? I have the Evapor-Rust right here. It doesn't harm brass, so I'm just going to throw that in there. I'll leave that in there for like 10 minutes, and we'll see what happens. All right, so that's been about 10 minutes. Let's see. Nope, that's not coming out. So I think I'm going to try the vinegar and salt bath just for about 10-15 minutes. Ooh, we got a little cracked voice there. Sorry, I'm just entering puberty. I'm going to put it in the vinegar and salt bath. Just some warm vinegar, a little bit of salt. And I want to clean these up anyway. So that'll get off all this black tarnish. Hopefully loosen the spring. If not, we'll have to go to a different method. So I shall return when this gets done soaking. Alright, so it's been soaking. Only about 10 minutes. Let's take it out. Let's see. See how that just basically wipes right off. And you get that little pinkish color? You can buff that out. But let's just see if it did anything to loosen that spring. Nope. So there's obviously excess carbon buildup in there. So we're going to have to take this tip off here, which just unscrews. I can see all kinds of carbon in there. Now I'm going to put it back in because hopefully some of the vinegar will flush down in there. Then we might have to do the old heat and quench method. Be careful with this part because you have that little tiny needle tip on it. So it didn't quite get all of that off. I'm going to let that soak a little longer. Alright, we'll wait another 10-15 minutes. Well, let's see what the nut looks like. Yeah, it looks great. So I'll go rinse that off with just regular water and we'll call it good. And let's see what the top nut, the knurled nut, looks like. That looks good too. Again, like I said, I'm not trying to make it look brand new. So I'll just rinse these off with water and let that soak. Alright, let's try again. Man, my camera skills are so lacking. Nope. Alright, so we're going to have to go with the burn with the torch, heat it up with a torch, and then quench it a couple times. I learned that from Steve Winkleman. I'll put a link in the description on how to do that. But let me get my torch ready. Propane torch. What, you see all that smoke in there? That's from the oil. WD-40. Man, see that smoke coming out? I hope that's the carbon melting, burning up. Yeah, look at that. Alright, now Steve made this kind of tool that he screws into the end of the spring to pull it out. I don't have that. Hopefully this isn't too hot. Nope. Let's see if that did anything. Man, that was some serious smoke coming out of there. Whoa! You see that, folks? Boy, that worked. Look at that. Wow, that was nasty, huh? So here's the cardboard tube. I gotta watch Steve's video again and see if I can reuse that. But look at all that carbon on there, huh? There's a lot. So I'm gonna soak that separately. Put this back in. And I don't know what was burning, if it was this cardboard tube or not. It's still in one piece. Yeah, still in one piece. So what I'm going to do is just let this dry. Try to reuse it. Again, I'm fairly new at this stuff, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but we're going to let that soak, try to get that carbon off the spring, clean the inside of the tube, and we'll reassemble it and see what happens. All right, everything's still soaking. I'm going to show you this. So I use this little bore brush, and it fits right in here. And I can clean out the inside of the tube. As you can see, there's some nasties in there. So I'll get some fuel and carburetor injector cleaner, whatever you got. Just dip the brush in. Look at that. See that nastiness? So I'll let that sit in there for a little bit. Then I'll clean this brush off. And what I use to clean the brush, believe it or not, is just a little bit of more of the fuel cleaner. And I'll just run it across, get most of the junk off. And then I'll run it back in here again. Just a few seconds. Look at that nastiness, huh? I normally would put this into another container not to contaminate the bottle, but I'm down towards the end of it anyway. And that's all I use this for, is for cleaning these parts. So, but it's always good to pour out a portion of whatever you're using so you don't contaminate the rest. Man, it's clogged. That is full of carbon. All right, I'm going to let that sit for a lot longer than a couple seconds. I'll bring you back. All right, so I did 2 more times with the brush. Then I just run it under hot water with simple green on the brush till it comes out clean. Now, as far as this coloration on here, this is a brass brush. You could take this and just brush it. I don't advise using a metal brush. It'll leave little scratches. You don't have to do this because it's going to all tarnish again anyway. But you can see how it takes off the pinkness. Or you could use a piece of Scotch-Brite. Now these generators aren't too expensive, but if you can fix it, why bother buying a new one? All right, so now we got that clean. Now the, I don't even know what this is called. The tip. This came out nice. I did the same thing with a little Scotch-Brite. A little spot right there. I didn't go crazy up here. I didn't want to get close to the tip. And here's the spring. Spring came out nice. All right, for the spring, I should have showed you. I don't know why. I just took it out and did it. But basically, I just took this little wire brush, this stainless steel brush, and I just went like this, so lightly. And all that carbon buildup that was on there came off. It basically got burnt off when you did that process. Thanks to Steve. You the man, Steve. Okay? Now, you want to dry these off good. I use compressed air. And you want to put a little oil on this spring. You don't have to oil the brass parts, obviously, because they won't rust. But this, you're going to want to put a little bit of oil on so it doesn't rust. So now we just need to wait for this to dry. And then we can put the generator back together. So I'll bring you back for the next step. While I'm waiting for the cardboard tube, which I think is reusable, to dry, I'm going to try something I never did before. Hopefully it works. I have this Renew Paint Clarifying Compound. I'm going to see if I can get all this nastiness off of there. I hope it doesn't mess it up. I'm going to just do a little spot first. Just literally got a little drop on there. I just want to see. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. That really shines it up. So I'm going to do that over the whole fount. It didn't take off these little crusty marks, but it sure shined it up good. So I'm going to do that on the whole thing, and we'll bring you back. All right, so I am impressed with that. That really, I still got a little bit more buffing to get it off the little bit of left on there, but it didn't get every single mark out, but sure made it look a heck of a lot better. I still want to put a little bit of clear lacquer over where I added that paint. Actually, the paint's right there. I don't even know what that is. I gotta check that out. But yeah, so far so good. So again, still waiting for the paper tube to dry. I'll bring you back for the next step. So we're moving right along. So I'm just gonna clean this with a little bit of simple green. Try to get some of the little grime off. Nothing, there's no rust on it, so it's really not a big deal. And then I'm going to clean the vent with some simple green and water. And I'll run a little bit of steel wool along the bail. And I'll bring you back. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out where I left off, though. Cleaning. Okay, cleaning. So this, I had actually soaked this in a Vapor Rust for like 10 minutes. There was a couple rust spots. And then I just went over it with a Scotch-Brite. It came out really nice. Vent looks great. I washed it again with simple green and some dishwashing detergent. And it kind of wasn't so shiny. So I said, let me try to do this Turtle Wax clarifying compound. This stuff is amazing, okay? It actually took another layer off of, it wasn't really soot, maybe it was, that was kind of baked on there, but it was dull. And then I just ran some of that over it, and it really, really shined it up. I don't think it'll be a problem. Like, you don't want to put any kind of wax or anything on it, but basically I think it just, I don't know. I hope it's not going to do anything, but what I'm going to actually do is, I just thought of it as I'm talking, is I'm going to wash it off again in some hot water and simple green to make sure there's no residue. But it did shine it up. So at this point, I'm going to fill the fount with probably like a quarter of a tank of fresh fuel, slosh it all around, put that into my empty fuel container, into my used fuel container, and then do it again like twice just to clean out the fount. When I get that rewashed and the fount kind of flushed out, I'll bring you back. All right, so here's another little tip for you. I forgot which direction I took this off, if it went that way or this way. So if you're not videotaping yourself, take a picture of it before you disassemble something. It doesn't have to be a lantern, it could be anything. Take a picture so you know the orientation of the parts that you're taking off. So let's put this together. Let me see if I can get a little closer here. All right. Oh, and the collar or the frame rest, or well, it's actually not a frame today, but yeah, I guess so. I just did it with a little bit of simple green and water. So let's place that on. So that goes on. And then this orientation, or these are in the back. So that goes on like that. Okay. And, ooh, I forgot to blow out my burner tubes. And I was telling you all about that, because it could be dirty in there. I have to go do that right now. I say burner tubes, I meant the air intake. Let's adjust this a little bit this way. All right, so now this goes right on top there. And we're going to put our retaining little C-clip back in. And we'll get our little retainer nut, put that on there. Find our little, what is it, I think that's a 1/2 inch. I have this little bent wrench, but you don't really need it, but it actually fits better. So snug it up, and then take a look. See, I have the collar crooked. Before you tighten everything down, make sure you loosen it if you try turning this, because you don't want to mess up the fount paint. So you want to get that centered. That looks good. Don't go crazy on it. You can always tighten it again if it's a little loose. All right, so we got that. We got that. Next, we're going to put the generator back together. So the way this works is you're going to put in the spring into the cardboard tube. Where am I? This fat end's going to go towards the top. Slide that in. And then carefully slip in your, I guess it's the pin, the cleaning pin or something, but you're going to see that this is up. Let me show you that. So if I just stick this knob on here, you'll see it moves up and down. So you have it up. Let's get the generator in. Clip it onto the, whoops, forgot something. Whoa, it came flying right out. Let's put this back in. Let's put our retaining nut back on. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to screw that in. I know my fingers are probably in the way, but all right, so you want to clip that into the hole. Hopefully you can see that. Let me put on another light. For those of you that make videos, you know what I'm talking about. It's difficult to try to film and do everything. It's so much easier when you're just sitting there doing it, but hopefully now you can see that, what I was talking about. All right, so you got that little hook part. Put that into the hole in the eccentric block. Then, if you turn the valve, it'll pull it down. So now you know it's seated in there. Drop your retaining nut on and screw that down. Now, remember, that's a compression fitting right here, okay, which means it's going to be metal on metal, and you want to make that tight. I mean, you don't have to, you know, torque it down, but you want it wants to be tight, otherwise you'll leak fuel out of there. And remember, it's brass, so don't go crazy, but snug it up. All right, so we got that, we got that. Now we're going to put in this heat shield. Slip that on the back. And we have this little retaining clip. So I'm just going to push that on there. Slide that around. All right, so it's pretty much back together. What we're going to do now is, oh, you know what? I forgot to do this. We'll take out this, the valve stem here, I guess, for lack of a better word. Come on now. Just grab the pliers. So pull that out, and I'm just going to run a clean cloth down there and see what it looks like. Let me just grab a... I don't really like using paper towel. Let me get a cloth. All right, I'm back. Now, I already know that this holds pressure, so that's not an issue. Let me just get a little dowel here. If it wasn't holding pressure and I replaced the pump cap, you'd have to check the check valve and see what's going on with that. Oh, wow. That's great. That's great. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to put the... Oh, there's the... did I show you that before? That's the pump cap that I made. I have a video on making these leather pump caps. The one that was in there was plastic. I think I showed that in the beginning of the video, and it was kind of trashed. Wouldn't hold any pressure, so put a little extra oil. That does not hurt in this case. Let's put this back in. If I could find the hole. Really? All right. Now when these, wow, my voice is cracking. When these are new, the leather pump caps, and you're standing behind a camera, they're a little stiff to get in. But that went in pretty good. All right, let me wipe the oil off my hand. If you'll notice, it actually says oil on there. So try to keep it in the orientation where the oil is not upside down. And then line it up with the two holes. Press it on. Then get your retaining clip, and it should slip into the holes. I gotta come around the other side of the camera. All right. Let me do it from this side. Okay, we got that one in. And then you just grab a pliers. Sometimes you just take a little screwdriver, move that up. This one's being a little fussy. Let me move that. Okay. Get it into the hole. Come on now. That's so weird. It's right by the hole, but it's not going in. Get that out of the way. There you go. All right. That took longer than it should have. All right, so now basically, well, I was way zoomed in, wasn't I? The lantern is put back together, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we'll turn the valve off. We'll put the little screw back in. Get the right size screwdriver. Okay. All right, so now at this point, I'm going to put some fuel in it, throw some socks on it, and we're going to light her up. All right, we got fuel in it. Now is the mantle. I keep calling them socks. I don't know why. They look like little baby socks. Now these are a 21. They do shrink a little bit once they burn. It calls for a 21. But I could see how the person, whoever had this before, put those 20s on there. But hey, it says 21s go on here. So I like to start my knot before I put it on there and kind of tweak it up a little bit. It seems to go on easier. All right, trim this. Take it off of that. Is that crooked or is that where it lines up? Let's see. You all can't even see what I'm doing, can you? I was looking at this, it looked like it was like off one spot. But nope, it's not. That's where it wants to go, and that's where it's going. All right. Let me back off a little bit. So the valve is off, fuel cap is tight. Let's pump her up. And Coleman says 30 times, okay? Oh, I forgot something. Let's pre-burn these. I lit one once without pre-burning those. It was pretty exciting. All right. Now, let's pump her up. Well, that wasn't 30, but there's a lot of fuel in there. Okay. It's the moment of truth, folks. Did we do a good job? So we got our match lit. Turn on our fuel. All right. So I had some technical difficulties. It actually lit, and I was like, video issues. So I'm starting again. So basically, I did one other thing. I moved this knob. It was facing with the, like, this end here facing up. I had it wrong. It needed to be facing here. So I got her pumped up. I see that the mantles did shrink to the size they were before. So that those are 21s. So everything's ready to go. Let's give her a light. Let's see what she looks like. Woo! We got ignition. Oh yeah. Look at that puppy hum, huh? Wow. Look at that. Nice, Captain, nice. Beautiful. Man, it gets bright. Let's turn off the lights. Woohoo! Well, folks, there you have it. It's funny how, like, video-wise, lengthwise, it's probably as long as the complete restoration. But obviously it wasn't. This was what I consider a sympathetic restoration, or cleanup. I mean, really, it's not. It's definitely not a rebuild. It's basically just a cleanup, you know? Make it usable again, make it presentable again, functional again, and that's about it. So I have another one of these, a picket fence, coming. My lantern guy hooked me up again. And now that I know that the case isn't for this, oh, it's for the lantern, but it's not the same year, I'll just be on the lookout for the year that case is and put whatever lantern I get into the case that's that year, so they match. But I like these little ones. I'm not sure I like it as much as the 220s style size, because that one just brings back the memories of my dad. So, well, there you have it. Thanks for coming along. I know these are long, but hey, James, you could run them when you need some time. And I want to thank everyone. I really, really appreciate it. I'm sending you all much, much love and respect, my brothers and sisters. Thanks as always for coming along. I hope you all are staying well. I hope you find these videos useful, and we'll see you on the next one.